What's good, y'all? Back again today with a very special video. So today we're gonna do another review video, or should I say, this one isn't really a review. This one is more like analyzing a recent news clip I saw or a recent story I saw. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the story today is about a company called Goldman Sachs. And I've heard about this company before, but I'll just be very honest, and I'm not too cultured in a lot of financial information as far as, the stocks and portfolios, all that other stuff. As we know in the Black community, there's not really too much information being taught about generational wealth or, attaining and keeping resources, networking, these type of things. In the average Black household, the most that they tell you is, hey, just don't mess up your credit, and a lot of Black households, actually, they'll really kick you out the house by 18 without giving you any prior kind of information financially, right? But that's a whole nother story. So when it came to Goldman Sachs and when I read up on what this business is, I still am kind of confused exactly on what they provide. But let's just go to Google, because, Google knows everything, right? So on Google, it says that Goldman Sachs is an American multinational investment bank and financial services company headquartered in New York City. It says it offers services in investment management, securities, asset management, prime brokerage, and securities underwriting.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Like I said, call me stupid, but I have no idea what 90% of that means, but I digress, right? So I looked a little bit further into this group, and it said that this group is number 24 on the Fortune 500 list. Now, that in itself is very impressive. As we know, there's a group called the Fortune 500 list, and this company is number 24. So you don't even got to know about it. Just know that out of 500, this is number 24, right? As far as how profitable and reliable this company is, right? And then I looked a little bit deeper into the company, just some surface level stuff, right? And I went on Wikipedia, and it says that the Goldman Sachs family is a family of German Jewish descent. Okay, let's keep that in mind. This is a German so-called Jewish family.
What the hell is even that?
Now let's get straight into why I make this video, because I saw a headline and it was pretty rash, really, when I read it, because on the surface you're probably going to say this isn't a bad thing, but let me just tell you what it is. So I read how Goldman Sachs is investing 10 billion. Yes, you heard that right. 10 billion. That is 9 zeros. This German so-called Jewish company is investing allegedly $10 billion into the Black community. Well, let me hold my horses. They're investing $10 billion, not necessarily into the Black community as a whole, more rather they're investing $10 billion into Black women, particularly and only. Now, I have a lot to say about this, but before I say anything, let's get straight to the video, shall we?
Black women in this country have fought for equal pay and equal access to loans for generations so they can start their own businesses and buy homes. But new data out today from Goldman Sachs shows they are still 2 times more likely to live in poverty, and their average hourly wages are 34% less than white men. They're also less likely to own their own companies.
Okay, you guys know I talk too much, so it is what it is, but I have to start this off by saying, Gayle King, fuck you. Every time I see Gayle King in those big-ass goofy glasses, I just can't help but to think of her sitting right in front of R. Kelly and just passive-aggressively gaslighting him in a narcissistic manner to get him to fucking blow his load everywhere, and then she's just sitting there with this sinister grin on.
Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. Y'all trying to kill me. You killing me, man.
Or when she sat there talking to Lisa Leslie and trying to get Lisa Leslie to turn against Kobe Bryant after his death and call him a rapist.
When people say arrogant and aloof, that's not what you remember about him. I know it's so
Well,
interesting.
there is
People that know him.
arrogance.
There is arrogance.
Absolutely, but the arrogance is not in everyday life. The arrogance is in the world of basketball.
It's been said that his legacy is complicated because
of sexual assault charge, which was dismissed.
Is it complicated for you as a
Woman.
as a WNBA player?
It's not complicated for me at all. I just have ever seen him being the kind of person that would do something to violate a woman or be aggressive in that way. That's just not the person that I know.
But Lisa, you wouldn't see it though. As his friend, you wouldn't see it.
And that's possible. I just don't believe that. And I'm not saying things didn't happen. I just don't believe that things didn't happen with force. The media should be more respectful. It's like if you had questions about it, you've had many years to ask him that. I don't think it's something that we should keep hanging over his legacy. I mean, he went to it went to trial.
Yeah, but the case it was dismissed because the victim in the case refused to testify, so it was dismissed.
And I think that's how we should leave it.
No, I have my own issues with Gayle King, but yes, Gayle King is the puppeteer of this segment that I saw on the news about black women getting $10 billion. And the first thing I want you to notice is they are comparing the wage gap of black women to white men. And this is the first thing I'm going to say. It's probably going to be the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it a million more times. This entire segment, they completely ignored black men altogether. Let's move forward.
We met one business owner. Her name is Jessica Johnson Cope, who is trying to change that. Her company, which has been in her family for generations, provides professional security to businesses across the New York metropolitan area. Here's her story in her own words.
My name is Jessica Johnson Cope. I am the president and CEO of Johnson Security Bureau, the oldest black-owned security firm in New York State. Johnson Security Bureau is a third-generation family-owned and operated security services firm based in the Bronx, New York.
All right, stop right there. I'm going to let her talk, but I just need you to write it down in your notes and take a mental picture of this picture right here. The fact that she said this company that she is the CEO of has been in her family for 3 generations, and that the progenitor or the original founder of this company was her grandfather. Okay, you see the picture here? Her father, her grandfather, the man, the black man, is sitting at the head. He's the one who thought of this company. He's the one who put his neck out on the line. He was the one right there with his name right there. So I'm not taking anything away from this black woman who got this position from her grandfather. And I'm not taking away from her hard work. And I'm not taking away from her contributions to, black society. But what I am saying is we must remember at the origin of this particular woman's story was a black man. Let's continue.
Founded by my grandparents, Dorothy and Wilbert Johnson, they started the business in their house in 1962.
Okay, you see right there? Founded by my grandparents, Dorothy and Wilbert. So, again, we have to pay attention to the subtle language. When she pulls up the pictures of the business being started, you see the grandfather sitting there. And then when she speaks about it, though, she mentions it was started by her grandmother and her grandfather. So her grandfather gets mentioned second.
Founded by my grandparents, Dorothy and Wilbert Johnson, they started the business in their house in 1962 to create a company where they could provide jobs for people in the community. You may not see a lot of women-owned firms in our neighborhood. You may not see a lot of big businesses coming here, but when they see Johnson Security Bureau, it gives them a sense of hope that there is someone who looks like them, who's achieved some level of success. The Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program was launched in 2009 as an answer to the financial crash of 2008. And I got the chance to interview with one of the members of the executive team at Goldman Sachs. She said, what if you had resources? What if someone showed you how you could better run your business? What if you could use other people's money and in that way put more people to work and have a greater impact on your community? And we've had sensational results. I mean, we've gone from 16 employees to over 160. Our revenues have increased significantly. If you have the desire and you have the right tools, you can find success, whatever that means to you.
16 employees to 160. That's impressive growth. Goldman Sachs is announcing a new $10 billion plan to invest in jobs, healthcare, and housing for black women. Chairman and CEO David Solomon joins us with the head of the firm's Urban Investment Group, Margaret Anadu. This is their first TV interview about the announcement. Good morning to you both, and I'm very glad it's warm enough in New York that you're both outside on the roof. Great to see you.
Good.
Well, we're really happy to be with you this morning, and it is definitely almost warm enough to be out on the roof. I'm probably just a little bit underdressed.
All right, David, let's get you going and warm you up. First, how will Goldman Sachs invest that $10 billion to help black women?
Well, we're very, very excited about this program, and we've been working for quite some time to think about a way that we can have a lasting economic impact. The earnings gaps and also the wealth gaps that exist for black women who are so important in the community based on all they're doing are very, very significant. And so we've really been working toward putting together a longer-term plan to disperse this capital in ways that can really drive broader economic participation, narrow gaps, and really help drive more participation in the economy.
All right, guys, now this is the main part that I want you guys to notice, and this is where I'm going to talk about in a little bit, and I'm going to let it play. But here you have this visibly very red man, and I have to mention race, guys, and I think you knew where I was going with this, but yes, race is very important because in this particular story, they're talking about race, okay? So since you guys want to talk about race, let's talk about it. I'm going to play the video, but look at this red man from this company that was founded by the so-called German Jewish people. And then look at this woman whose last name is not Black American. This is not a Black American woman, okay? I have to let it be known, this is not a Black American woman that they have representing Black women in America. And that's very relevant because, as many of you already know, a lot of the foreigners, yes, including African foreigners that come here, are put into positions of leadership over actual Black Americans. That's a whole nother discussion that we've already dabbled in. But yes, all of these facts are very relevant before you watch this video. But let's just move forward.
I'd like Margaret to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're thinking specifically about to drive those results over time.
Go ahead, Margaret.
Yeah. So as we think about the $10 billion and the impact that we can have here, you heard from Jessica Johnson just what it means to have that access to capital. But we want to do something much broader here. And that's why we want to invest in healthcare, education, housing, childcare. Because stepping back, right, these are the foundational elements in a Black woman's life that really drive economic prosperity. And we think when we can start to narrow some of those opportunity gaps, we unlock her potential, we lift her up. And that's not just important for those Black women, but also we're going to see the impact on their families, on our communities, and we feel pretty strongly we're going to drive progress overall.
Okay, again, I need you to pay attention to how many times they say Black women and to how many times they say Black men. Now, again, this isn't to say that Black women do not deserve help in their own regard, but when you have a company, a Fortune 500 company, okay, that was actually established by so-called German Jewish people, and they're only helping Black women, and they're putting $10 billion into helping Black women, and then you have this quote-unquote Black woman here saying that the $10 billion is not only going to help Black women, but also the children and their families. Now, again, this is something that I can't even get upset about because I understand the strategies of war that are being implemented against us. But I would like you to understand them as well, particularly if you're a Black woman, because we need you in this fight. We need your alliance. We need your help. We need you as an ally because what is happening right now is you are being put in a position, a false position, might I add, of superiority over the Black man. But that is only to spite the Black man. When and if, which will never happen, but when and if the Black man is completely destroyed, that is when they will focus their eyesight on you to destroy Black women. But for now, they're putting you in a false independent state where you believe that you've attained it by yourself. And you believe that the Black man is just naturally lazy and incompetent and overly aggressive for no reason. Meanwhile, you never, ever, ever analyze the white man through that same microscope. This is what we have present day. A Black woman, so-called, like I said, who is not American, talking about this $10 billion will not only help Black women, but it's going to help Black children and Black families. Again, that kind of reminds me of the Black Lives Matter organization, doesn't it? How when they came out, they had a whole manifesto talking about Black women, trans women, disabled people, children, and everybody else, but they just so happened to forget to mention the Black man in particular. So my question to not only this Black woman here, but to Goldman Sachs is, okay, bravo, but at what point in time are you going to extend any resources and any money, because you're putting $10 billion into these Black women, when are you going to put a portion of that into Black men? Oh, or is it that maybe we are a threat to you, so you wouldn't dare invest into us, right? Okay, let's see.
Margaret, in 2018, you were the youngest Black woman to be named a partner at Goldman Sachs. What needs to be done to get more Black women in leadership positions?
I think even an initiative like this and what we're building, right, this is about the infrastructure that allows more Black women to be at the table. And so when we can get more Black women that college degree, when we can help with the upskilling, when we can help Black women really advance in their careers, you're going to see more, Black women at the table. And quite frankly, I think to sort of drive the type of progress in initiatives like this that we need to see.
Well, seeing you standing there side by side with David Solomon, I think sends a very important message, Margaret. Seeing you standing there side by side with David Solomon, I think sends a very important message, Margaret.
Yes, you're right, Gail. Seeing this non-Black American woman with her non-afro standing next to this bald, red, possibly Germanic, so-called Jewish man on the rooftop of NYC penthouse is sending a very clear message to those of us who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. We see very clearly what's going on. We see very clearly, Gail.
I want to go back to you, David, because I love the question that Jessica posed in the piece. What would you do if you had the resources? That she was asked that by Goldman Sachs. So why is this important to you? I want you to take us behind the scenes about your thinking on this. And it's more than just making opportunities for black women in business.
Absolutely, Gail. It's much more than that. And I think the firm has learned a lot over the last 5 years, over the last 15 years, as we've made investments in other programs I know that you're familiar with, like our 10,000 Women program and our 10,000 Small Business program that Jessica is highlighting. And what we've learned is that if we take our research and we really dig deep to try to understand where there are problems or gaps in our society, and then we take our resources, our capital, our network, our ability to give people advice and help them gain access to capital, we can create a very positive impact over time. We can help lift people up. We can help them participate. And by the way, it's great for those people. But more importantly for our society, it helps us all economically. If we can close the wage gap for black women in this country, we can create 1.7 million more jobs, and we can increase economic GDP output by about $450 billion. So we all benefit from broader participation, and that's why the research that we're putting out this morning, Black Womenomics, helps us understand where we can all make investments to help drive our society forward.
Okay, I'm about done with this fucking joker, but you hear this guy talking about him and his team put together a group of research called Black Womenomics? Are you fucking kidding me? Black Womenomics, where you so-called are researching the wealth disparities and the perfect place to put your resources and give you this information and education, all these other fucking buzzwords. Shut the fuck up, you red man. You're a goddamn liar, and you're the fucking devil that the Bible speaks of, and we know it. And we know that that woman standing next to you is Eve that the Bible spoke of, that bit the apple because she so-called thought it looked good, right? I've spoke about it before, and I'll speak about it until I'm fucking blue in the face. Yes, we know about the partnership between the devil and the so-called black woman. And I'm not going to go too deep into it right now, but yes, we're going to speak about it, and we're going to speak about the importance of exposing it, and we're also going to speak about the importance of those allies, that 20%, I'd say, of black women who actually are on our side and who are willing to sacrifice these worldly pleasures that this red man is going to give you to stand on the right side of history. And that is on the side of your black man. I need you to notice they did not mention black men one time in this interview. And yes, it's about black women. But again, if you're talking about you're doing research into the community that's trying to better society as a whole and wealth disparities of different communities, you're telling me you didn't mention black men one time? You don't see how black men are woven into the fabric of the black community? Oh, that's right. You want to take black men out of the fabric of the black community. That's why you're not mentioning us. That's why you're putting $10 whole billion into particularly only black women. You could have done $5 billion for black men and $5 billion for black women. Isn't that called equality? Isn't that what the so-called feminists love? So again, this plays into the whole narrative that black men have all this power and black men are the white men of the black community and black men have all this authority that we're abusing and we don't need any help. And it's poor black women who are just so oppressed living under this black matriarchy that the so-called Germanic Jewish man has to come out of his cubbyhole to help us with his billions and trillions of dollars. So what message does that send to the black woman at the end of the day when the black man is not even being mentioned? And the white man has to be able to come and give us some of his money to help society as a whole. Do you see what's going on? And again, this is why I'm not even mad. This is why I'm not even screaming, because I understood the play for what it was. But I did want to make this video to, again, tell black women, the ones of y'all that are on our side, to continue to stand with us because you see the attack. But I also wanted to make this video as evidence to prove to those black women or anyone else in society that does not believe that women have an unfair advantage over their black male counterparts. I wanted to prove to you just one of the many examples. We can go to the family court system and how they're biased towards black fathers. We can go down to a million other things, but this is just one video to prove how the white society is coddling the black woman while completely ignoring, and whenever they do pay attention to us, they're attacking the black man. So I don't want to take any more of your time. I hope you can understand why I made this video and why this is so dangerous to so-called empower the black woman without her male counterpart, because you don't see any other community of women being just empowered while the male is completely dismissed. But, you know, it is what it is. Until the next time I see y'all, please vibrate higher.
I have set you apart. Oh, Lord, I can't get no help in here. I have set you a part.